Welcome to my channel. This is Real Talk Podcast, where we dive into honest conversations, real stories, and practical English learning tips. Let's get started.
Today, we're really getting into something pretty much everyone experiences or will experience, checking in at the airport.
That's right. And we've got some interesting sources here, an ESL dialogue, a quiz, even a script from a beginner's travel English video. They actually lay things out quite clearly.
They do, surprisingly so. So whether you fly all the time or you're just, curious about how it all works behind the scenes, our goal today is to really unpack what goes on when you first walk up to that counter.
Yeah, build some confidence, maybe understand the why behind some of those standard questions.
Exactly. Okay, so let's jump right in. The check-in counter, what's the first thing?
Well, the ESL dialogue points to the absolute basics. The agent asking, can I have your ticket, please? Or sometimes, may I see your passport, please? Standard stuff.
Right, the essentials to prove you are who you say you are and you're actually booked on a flight. And you just hand them over, here you are. Simple.
Then comes that choice. Would you like a window or an aisle seat?
Ah, yes. The classic dilemma. I always wonder about that, actually. Which one do most people pick? Is there, data on that?
That's a good point. It probably varies a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, after the seat preference, it's on to the bags. Do you have any baggage?
And this is where that key difference comes up, isn't it? Between a suitcase, meaning something you check in,
Right, that goes in the hold.
and a carry-on bag, the one you take with you on the plane. And those carry-on rules, they seem to change all the time.
Oh, absolutely. Sizes, weights.
Yeah.
That's definitely evolved, probably for efficiency, fitting everything in the overhead bins.
Makes sense. And they'll ask about your final destination, obviously crucial for getting your checked bags routed correctly.
Yep. And then there's often that little upsell attempt. Would you like to upgrade to business or first class?
Yeah, you hear that sometimes. Worth asking, I suppose, from their perspective.
Part of the business model, I guess. And sometimes, especially helpful, they might ask, do you need any help getting to the gate? Which is a nice touch.
Definitely. So that ESL resource also had a short practice dialogue, kind of summarizing it all.
Yeah, really brief. Agent asks for a ticket, passenger gives it, asks for an aisle seat, declares one suitcase, one carry-on.
Agent hands over the boarding pass, says, have a nice flight. Passenger says, thank you. Boom, done. It's like a little script everyone knows.
It really is. It's this unspoken agreement, this
Uh,
choreography almost,
Yeah.
that makes it work so quickly most of the time.
Okay, now shifting gears slightly to the other source, that travel English video script. The host there really emphasizes check-in, calls it super important.
Right, and they boil it down to 3 phrases they think are essential, especially if English isn't your first language.
What were they again?
The first one is very direct, here's my passport and ticket. And they suggest adding your flight, like I'm checking in for flight 123. Gets right to the point.
Clear communication. Good tip. What's next?
The baggage question. Do I need to check this bag? That hits on a really common point of confusion, right? With carry-on size roulette.
Totally. Is this okay? Is it too big? We've all been there.
Exactly. And the third phrase is straightforward. Where is the boarding gate? Because once you've got that boarding pass, that's your next immediate task.
Find the gate. Makes sense. And they encourage practicing these out loud, probably helps build confidence.
For sure. Now, that same video script has a more realistic dialogue. A traveler, Alex, and an agent, Sarah.
Right. How does that one go?
Sarah starts politely, "Good morning, can I see your passport and ticket, please?" Standard opening.
And Alex responds, sure, here they are. I'm on flight AA456 to Paris. Gives the docs, states the flight, efficient.
Then Sarah asks the bag question. "Thank you. Do you have any bags to check in?"
And Alex says he has one, but asks that key question, is it okay as carry-on?
And in this scenario, Sarah says, "No, it's too big. I'll check it in for you." So there's the agent making the call based on the rules.
Okay, so the bag gets checked, then what?
Sarah gives him the boarding pass details. Your boarding pass is printed. The gate is B12. Boarding starts in 30 minutes. All the critical info.
Gate number, boarding time, got it. And then polite goodbyes.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good flight. It shows how you can be efficient, but still, polite.
That script also had an analysis section, didn't it? Looking at the language itself.
It did. Pointed out things like contractions, I'm for, I am. It's for, it is. Which are, well, just how people naturally speak English.
Yeah, you wouldn't really say, I am checking in unless you were really emphasizing it.
Right. And it's stressed politeness, saying, can I see, instead of something blunt like give me your passport. Tone matters, even in quick exchanges.
Good point. And it mentioned the agent's language being quite formal and precise, like boarding starts in 30 minutes, needs to be clear.
Absolutely. No room for ambiguity when it comes to flight times.
Okay, so you've successfully checked in, you've got your boarding pass. What's the next hurdle?
Security.
Yeah.
The next big step. And the ESL resource gives a rundown of what you'll likely hear there.
Ah, yes, the commands. Please step through the scanner. That's the main one.
Right. Walk through the metal detector or the body scanner, and if it beeps,
Then you hear, please step to the side.
and maybe please raise your arms to the side for the body scanner. Standard poses.
Then the emptying begins. Empty your pockets, please. Keys, coins, whatever else is lurking in there.
And the very common, please take off your shoes and belt, feels almost automatic now at most airports.
It does. Plus, please take any electronic devices out of your bag. Laptops, tablets.
Sometimes big phones, too. They need a separate scan. Must be about what's inside them.
So the practice dialogue for security in that source, how did that play out? It seemed pretty fast.
Very fast. Officer says, next. Passenger shows their ticket. Instruction, please step through the scanner.
And BEP, of course.
Naturally. So please step to the side.
Hmm.
Then the officer asks, do you have any coins in your pockets? Passenger says no, but mentions keys.
The usual suspect. Keys.
Bingo. Officer says that's probably it. Put your keys in this bin and walk through the scanner again.
And second time's the charm.
Yep. No beep. Then the officer gives that little piece of advice. Remember to unload your pockets before you go through security next time.
A gentle reminder. And then have a nice flight. It does capture that slight hassle, but efficient feel of security.
It really does. Quick, direct, focused on the process.
All right. Check-in done. Security cleared. Phew. But if you're flying internationally, there's more, right?
That's right. Passport control and potentially customs. Two distinct steps, usually.
What are the key questions there, according to the source?
In passport control, it's fundamental. Can I see your passport? That's the main identity and entry authorization check.
And I might ask why you're visiting.
Exactly. Are you a tourist or here on business?
Yeah.
Just confirming the purpose of your visit matches your visa, if you need one.
Okay. And then customs. That's usually after you collect your bags, right?
Typically, yes. And the big question there is, do you have anything to declare? Meaning items bought abroad you might owe duty on, or things that are restricted.
Like food. The source mentioned food specifically.
Yes. Have you brought any food into the country? Because many countries have strict rules about bringing in agricultural products, meats, dairy.
Right, to prevent diseases or pests. Okay, so the dialogues for this part. How did they illustrate it?
Well, the passport control one was super brief. Officer asks for passport, asks for tourist, then just says, have a pleasant stay. Often it's that simple.
Smooth. What about the customs one?
That one was a bit more involved. The passenger says they have 2 bottles of whiskey and asks if they need declaring.
Proactive. Good idea.
And the officer clarifies the allowance, says up to 2 quarts is okay. So the whiskey is fine.
Phew. But then...
Then the passenger mentions cheese from France.
Uh-oh. I sense trouble.
Yep. The officer had to confiscate it, explains there are restrictions on importing dairy. It's a real-world example of those rules in action.
Ouch. Tough break for the cheese lover, but it shows why you need to know the rules.
Exactly. The passenger accepts it, says they only have a T-shirt otherwise, and they exchange polite goodbyes. Even with the confiscation, it's handled professionally.
It demonstrates you might face different questions depending on what you actually bought or are carrying.
Precisely. It's not always a simple walkthrough.
Okay, let's try to lock in some of this info. The ESL source had a quiz. Maybe you've run through a few of those.
Good idea. Reinforces the key terms. First one. Could I please see your plan before you get on the airplane?
That's got to be your boarding pass, your ticket onto the plane itself.
Correct. Next. Please put your keys in the ack and walk through the app.
Aisle window. The eternal seat choice.
Right. I have 1 suitcase and a buy. Options were carry-on, backpack, pocketbook.
Another one where they all fit, really. Different types of hand luggage.
Exactly. And the last one, have a nice step. Day, trip, flight.
All work. Depends who's saying it and when. Agent might say flight, friend might say trip.
Precisely. So yeah, that quiz hits the main vocabulary nicely.
So, wrapping this up, we've walked through the whole initial airport process, haven't we? From the check-in desk...
Through the potential twists and turns of security.
And then the formalities of passport control and customs if you're heading abroad.
And the core thing seems to be clear communication, knowing what to expect, and having your documents ready. Makes everything run smoother.
It really does. It's easy to just think of it all as, annoying steps you have to get through.
Yeah, just hoops to jump through.
But when you stop and think, it's actually this huge, complex system keeping global travel moving. All these little interactions, the questions, the checks, the politeness even, they're all part of this massive operation.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. It's not just about rules. It's this intricate dance involving millions of people, technology, and procedures all trying to work together. Makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. Maybe next time you're standing in one of those lines, you'll see those routine questions and interactions in a slightly different light.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time on Real Talk Podcast.